What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about ZORA. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the 15th day of April, and here we are with about 10 hours and 13 minutes left in the day. I've actually been meaning to make a video on ZORA for the past few days, but fortunately enough, we really haven't done much over the past few days, have we? We are contesting these low areas. We are setting up for this kind of double bottom W-shaped look here. I very much do believe now, just as I did really throughout all of this range, that this is a great time to buy now. I did say, I think in my last video talking about ZORA, I want to say it was even here, that I expected that we'd come down. It was it on Thursday or Friday? It was on one of these days that I expected that we'd come down and that by the end of the weekend we'd probably be at a better price to buy. I didn't know if we would come this low. We could have gone lower, but nonetheless, you know, we did move a little bit lower, and this is a great time to DCA. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. If you're looking at ZORA through this scope here, it kind of looks like you're catching a falling knife, right? It looks like, how do you know that this is a low area to buy? How is this any better of a price than this price? How do we know that we're not going to just continue to drop forever? And we don't. You never know. You never know. And that's why I say DCA. It's never a bad time to DCA. Don't put your house into this. Don't sell your car and put all that money into this right now. But DCAing is not a bad thing. And that the reason why is because if we keep going back far enough, this was an area that we found contention before as resistance and resistance and resistance here. You see it now, right? Yeah, now it kind of looks good. It kind of makes sense. And again, this doesn't mean that we can't go lower. I mean, hell, the range is all the way down here. We could, guys, we could go a whole nother, we could drop 50% from here. It is possible. Maybe in one day, just like this to the upside, we wake all the way down here and then we come all the way back up. It could be just like that. I don't think it will. That's not my expectation. But we're in that range where I think it is a good time to DCA. And even up here, it's a good time to DCA. Even at the higher limits here, maybe not so much like these areas, right? Maybe not once we're above this low here, not above like 16 cents or 1.6 cents. I don't think so. But below or at 1.5 cents, I think it's a good time to DCA, because what we're dealing with here, you guys, is a coin that from this exact same price area in one day saw a 66% pump. In 1 week, from a low to a high, saw a near 6x move. That doesn't mean from here that it's going to see the same thing. What if it sees a quarter of it, a half of it, 75% of it? What if it does something like it did here? And you know what's coincidental here, or maybe not so coincidental, is that from this low point here, what happened? Why did you bounce? Why did you have just a day of fun in the sun, where you pumped 124%, 130%. If you bought anywhere in this day and you sold it like a 50% increase or more, you did great. You didn't even have to think about it. You were just waiting for the pump. You got the pump and you got out. You don't have to catch the whole move, because who cares? It's fugazi. It's nonsense. It doesn't exist anyways. It's because you came below your first high area, your point of resistance here, your point of contention, and a point where you found resistance right there as well. So that was where you saw that first significance. This, where we're holding support now, is a lot more significant than this area was. And this is your ICO price, your initial coin offering price, which is pretty significant in the history, the context of things. So looking at the price here, we're buying, we're DCAing, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. You are doing whatever you want to do. The reason why I'm buying, the reason why I'm DCAing, the reason why anybody else is because we're waiting on an obvious selling point. This is not obvious. This is not obvious, but a move that is substantial, like this, like this, like this, or like this, will be an obvious selling point. What I don't believe is that in the grand context of Bitcoin's bear market and the whole crypto market as a whole, that this is the lowest point. I don't believe this is the lowest point. We're getting in to get out at whatever price you deem acceptable. Now, how much is acceptable? I bet we see more than a 30% pump from the lows. I bet we see probably a larger than 30% pump, but you could get out at a 35% pump from the lows. If you want to get out at a 50% pump from the lows, I bet we at least see that. I would bet that we at least go to this resistance point here, these support points here. We could see something that is multiple hundreds of percents, that just eclipses this move in total. We could. And if you want to get out there, but the point is, you could DCA out, you could DCA in, and then layer your sell orders to DCA out, and then if and when it pumps, you could set your stop losses at a point where you're still taking profits. It's a pretty, I think, solid plan. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. It might blow up in our faces, and maybe we don't get this pump, and it just keeps on doing this, and that's what we get instead. And in which case we still DCA, because we're still dealing with some of the lowest price action ZORA's ever seen. I would expect at least some type of relief rally. I don't think this thing's going away. I checked on the ZORA X page yesterday, and I mean they're pushing out content all the time, and ZORA is building. I don't know. I just it's a trade. It's a tradable opportunity. It's something that I'm putting my money on, and I have put my money on, and I'm continuing to DCA. I'm going to buy some more today because I think it's at a great price to buy. But anyways, getting away from the theory here and getting more into the TA, looking at this here on a 1 hour time frame. Yes, we're breaking down. We do have a gap to the upside there. That's nice. We'll probably fill that gap. These 1 hour gaps. We have a gap over here too at about 14.5 cents. Are there any gaps up here? No gaps over here. Are there any gaps over here? Let's actually put a line right there at the high. Let's keep going. Let's see. Are there any gaps? Do we have any gaps? There's a gap up here, all the way at 1.7 cents, which makes me think again this pump will at least take us there. Let's put a line right there at that gap as well. And we filled that gap before. I mean, I don't know if I expect that we get above this high. Let's see. And there probably are some gaps to the upside, but I'm not going to keep going back. There probably are some gaps at some point, you know, going back in time. But just the thought here that from the current price, we could pump all the way up to this line here and fill that gap. That's a 25% pump. And if you buy lower, you could potentially get more. And likely you don't just tip this gap and sell off. You probably get a little bit above it. So I really do expect we'll see a 30% or more pump. And actually, looking at this in the context of the daily time frame, to me it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. This line, this is where the gap is, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to find resistance here. It would make a lot more sense, and just because it makes sense doesn't mean it has to happen. It would make a lot more sense to touch where we found resistance and support before, something that from a price perspective makes more sense, and that's a 50% move from the low. It's a 47% move from here, so a decent little play. And what's nice about it, what's really nice about it, is you're not going to be questioning it. If it happens, you're not going to be like, oh, is it breaking out? Are we going to new all-time highs? No, we're in a bear market. This, I don't care if it doubles. You could sell from here, let it double. Bravo to anybody who held and sold up here. It's going to work its way back down. You're just in it to make some cash and then reallocate later. Get in, get out. Just keep it simple. Don't get emotional with it, right? Treat it like a job. Make your paycheck. 40% is pretty good in my opinion. That's a pretty good paycheck. And all you got to do is DCA and have some patience. And then execution is the most important part. You don't want to DCA down here, it pumps, and then it comes all the way back down, and then you're just taking slight profits. You don't want to do that. You don't want to see it pump, wait for it to pump more, it comes up even more, and you're like, oh, but it broke out. Maybe it's going to go higher, and then it's just slowly coming down. You don't want to do that. Just get in, get out. Get out at an area that makes sense to you. Maybe it's where the gap gets filled, and instead of a 40%, 50% pump, you're taking a 25% pump. Oh, no. 25% gains. That's awesome in a bear market. And you continue to do that. You continue to do stuff like this. You will make money. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. It doesn't have to be complicated. Likely what we're not going to see is something like this. But there's nothing wrong with holding on to some ZORA just in case it does. Nothing wrong with that. I'll probably hold on to some, but I'm going to let go of like 80% or more of the position that I'm stacking, that I'm building right now for ZORA, and then I'll keep some for the long term, because I do think in time this crypto will work its way back up here. In time, I think it will see new all-time highs, but at the moment we're going for the short-term play. And might it make sense from here to find resistance right at your ICO price, which there's resistance right there. There's reason enough to find resistance right there as well, and that would be about a 80% pump from the lows. Or no, 82% pump from the current price, not just from the lows. I mean, that could make sense as well. We could take a high here to a low here, and that's the 236. What if you go all the way up to the 382? That is about 142%. You have support there, resistance there. That could make sense as well. So there's a lot of promise here. There's a lot of opportunity if you execute it properly. Anyways, I don't have anything else to say. My biggest thoughts that I would leave anybody with who's interested in making a play on this, first off, is that none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Secondly, would be if you're DCAing into it, dollar cost averaging in, you can dollar cost average out. You might not know where the price is going to go. So set your sell orders up systematically, layer them out. You know, if you bought, and not financial advice, not a financial advisor, this is just what I do. If I bought, let's say I had four different prices that I bought at, four different moments in time where I put a position in ZORA, I would probably sell at 8 different or maybe even 12 different limits, 12 different areas. I'd have a plethora of limit orders set up of equivalent size, or maybe a larger size, a smaller size, smaller as it goes up, or the opposite, small and then it gets bigger as it goes up, which is a little bit riskier in my opinion, but whatever, however you want to do it. Layer it out, and then as it wicks through, your orders are going to get hit and you'll DCA out just like you DCA'd in. And I think that's the way to go. But again, this could be a horrible idea and you're in it for the long run at that rate. So don't invest any money. Don't make a play with any money that you're not comfortable with sitting there for a while. If it sits there for a while, inevitably I do believe we will see some accumulation and we will get a rapid move up, but this could happen next week. This could happen next month. This could happen at the end of this year. We don't know, but we're sowing the seeds to reap the fruits, the benefits when it comes. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.